And I'm just kind of a coach, so I always say half of what we get paid to do is for the actual work. The other half is for being a professional pain in the ass.
All right, it's good to be here with you again, Dad. I know this is now podcast number 2, it looks like. We're going to have to name this thing sometime soon, but we know at the very least it's for business owners, so at least we got that out of the way.
Right. Podcast for business owners, and all you business owners out there, we definitely share your struggles. At the end of the day, even though the economy's good right now, less regulation, less taxes, which is a little bit of a lightening of your yoke, at the end of the day, there's still challenges. You walk in the battlefields every day. So we're here just trying to conjure up some of the things that are in our business that are challenges we're working with, and maybe you can relate to that yourself, and also some things we can learn from what's streaming in the media about retirement planning concerns and things like that for the business owner.
Yes, and one of the unique things that business owners have to tackle is they have to self-fund and pretty much create their own retirement. So we're going to get into that in a few moments. But Dad, it's been a little over a month since our first podcast. So how's it been getting settled in the office? Because I know the last one we were pretty much just getting you settled in. Right. Now it's a month later.
Well, it's pretty cool, actually. We've got this great office, and hopefully you'll come in and visit. We had one of our staff members the other day, and she commented just how she loved the different color scheme. And you, Michael, and Ruben, and different staff members here have done a great job in setting it up, nicely appointed. Feels a little bit like a therapist's office when you walk in. I want to lie on the couch and take a little bit of a snooze. But, at the end of the day, I'm an investment advisor, right? And so part of what you do is to help people with their financial decision making, but the other part is behavioral psychology, like talking them in off the ledge when the markets are falling off the cliff and people are panicking. You just got to be a quiet voice of reason and say, "Whoa, slow down. It's going to be all right. This too shall pass." So it's great digs. We're having fun here. And really, really great location. A lot of great eateries around here, too.
Yes, and it's funny you mentioned that because you kind of touched base on that a little bit there on how people want to be relaxed, and kind of stepping into therapy is like stepping in your finances. I almost look at it as you are an investment coach as opposed to an investment advisor, because like you said, a lot of it is just making sure people are relaxed, because when the markets are going up, everybody's ecstatic, but when they're going down, that's when the panic sets in. So really, you're there to make sure people stick to the plan that we put in place and coach them along the way.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I always say that you always want to separate your emotions from your investment decision-making process. In the last number of weeks, we've seen all these things with tariffs. I'm thinking back a couple of weeks ago, there was the whole use by the Trump administration of tariffs to get really Mexico into an immigration policy where they control the flow of illegal immigrants through Central America, coming in from El Salvador and Honduras and Guatemala, coming through Mexico and getting into our country illegally. That was a tough bargaining chip that the president threw out there, but there was a lot of skittishness. People were selling like General Motors. People are selling the auto stocks, thinking it's going to crush the industry. And then, of course, in typical fashion, over the weekend, it gets worked out, and all of a sudden there's not going to be any tariffs. So a lot of people that just panicked really sold some good companies, maybe not at the best time, simply because of the short-term geopolitical issue of the day, which was Trump's immigration stance and use of tariffs against the Mexican government potentially, but that all really disappeared. So that's an example of not letting the media and the headlines of the moment really dictate what decisions you're making regarding your investments. And the same is true in business. If you're making investments, I think in your business, you want to make a measured approach to that and think about the capital investment and whether or not that's going to be a good long-term strategic move for you, not worry so much about what the short-term presidential tweets are going to be, because those differ moment by moment.
Yes, and that's exactly why you need an investment advisor or an investment coach there to make sure you have a plan and you stick to that plan when the emotions arise. I do want to get into business owners' unique problems, because I know in the first podcast, we were talking a little bit about something you're intimately familiar with as a business owner, and that's pretty much funding your own retirement and the options there are. And the options that are there. I know we talked a little bit about Roths in the first podcast, and we talked a little bit about also IRAs.
Right.
But many business owners don't realize that one of the first things that they should do for themselves is set up a solo 401k, because that's something that's pretty easy to do.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. As a business owner, you want to think about putting money away for your future when you can no longer work, or if you're going to sell the business, or maybe just close the chapter on that business because there's not really any redeeming value to be sold in the marketplace. But whatever it's going to be, you want to save money first. There's a lot of great tax incentives with the solo 401k, but other retirement plans that will really allow you to get a tax deduction today and put money away tax deferred for tomorrow. It's what I call planting shade trees for the future. Now, the interesting thing is there's a wide degree of difference as to what plan would be best for you as a business owner, depending on your employee census. It's very important to ask the questions: how many employees do you have? Are they full-time or part-time? What are their ages as evidenced by their dates of birth? Because all of these things in the employee census really, really matter in determining which type of plan is going to allow you to put the most money away for the greatest tax benefits and building wealth for the retirement future. Many people just, say, well, I'm just going to do an IRA, but that limits your tax deduction. So a solo 401k or some of these other things, even defined benefit pension plans, can really be excellent for a lot of business owners depending on their unique business culture, which is something we can help them figure out, really.
Absolutely.
Kind of an assessment process.
And like usual, you jumped ahead of me into the next one, because many people don't even realize pensions are still around, because they've kind of gone the way of the past. People have had a pension and they got their gold watch when they retired, but now everybody's gone the way of the 401k.
Right. That's
but
right.
You touched on that a little bit right there, the defined plan. And you can have a defined pension for your own self if you are a business owner.
Right.
And that's something many people don't know how to do, don't know that's even available to them.
Right.
And they just don't really put the systems in place to take advantage of those things.
Well, that's true. I mean, so many people really should consider a defined benefit pension. Think of it this way. You know at age 65 what the pension or an annuity lifetime income is going to be, the monthly benefit and what cost of living increases may be. So you can better control or plan, for your future, because you got to know what your cash flow is going to be, right? I mean, you can't really make investments or pay, decide what kind of housing you want or where you're going to live if you don't know what kind of cash flow you're going to have, right? How much can you afford for housing? So we like the idea of defined benefit pensions where they're suitable for the business owner, because business owners are not going to get a federal pension. I am meeting with a client later today who is from New York City. He was in 9/11, and he's got a great deferred compensation and a great pension from the city of New York that for the rest of his life, he's going to get that check. I call it a paycheck for life without additional work, that he's very, very confident in receiving. We'd like to create that kind of opportunity for the business owner where it's suitable for them to really have better control and a better certainty, a greater sense of calm about where they're going to be in retirement. And sometimes defined benefits do a brilliant job of that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I know a lot of people that listen on in that own businesses, they tend to have a business somewhere around $100,000 in revenue to around $1 million, but they don't really have a plan in place. So if you're a business owner that's kind of in that situation, you might have a business that's generating $500,000 or $1 million.
Right.
What is going to be the best step that they can take to get their retirement funded and in place for them, because they do have to go about it on their own? So what's really that first step that everyone should take?
Well, I think the first step is to sit down with an advisor that understands employee benefits and the business owner culture, which is something that I understand intimately, and really ask the question, hey, what can I do in my business based on the number of employees I have and the nature of the business that we're in to really try to set up some different pension benefits for myself and also people that are with us to incentivize them long term. Now, depending on your age and the type of business, sometimes it's a contrarian view. I'm working with a younger client who's a physical therapist, has a very successful physical therapy practice. I think he has 28 therapists that work for him. Most of them are independent contractors, but he's limited by virtue of his young age and some other things as to what he can put away in conventional plans. So he's looking for unique, different, innovative plans that really will allow him to build up money outside of his patient care practice, his physical therapy practice. So he didn't know those things existed. When he was talking to his accountant was giving him the traditional, well, you can do the SEP IRA, this and that, but you got to, and it got to him to be very, very discouraging. He was looking for some outside of the box, innovative thinking. So that's what we brought into the equation. And now he's excited about that option going forward. So it's really a matter of, not that I have all the answers, but it's asking the questions really to get to determining what is going to be the right path for any particular business owner to follow. And that's something I think that we do exceptionally well. It's kind of fun to do it as well.
Absolutely. Well, you are trained at asking the right questions. I will say, I would assume that most business owners that come into our offices don't even know what questions to ask.
Well, that's true. And I always say you've got to ask a better quality of questions. So I'm asking a lot of questions to understand what's important to them in their business and their family life and financially. And then I'm taking notes as to their answers. And it's really kind of getting a lot of pieces to the puzzle. We're slowly putting them in place, piece by piece. Sometimes the pieces go in and they're not in the right location. As we get additional pieces in, we realize, we got to move that piece over here to make it all work, to get the right configuration. But it is a process. We're very process-oriented, Mike, and that's why we developed that retirement compass review, which is kind of trademark pending, or will be anyway, if it's not already. And that's really a unique process of taking people through this program, so we can lay out a plan in black and white for them. And we call it retirement compass review because, a compass will always have the needle is going to seek true magnetic north. It's always going to point. If you turn, the needle's going to say, hey, there's north that way. You turn this way, there's north that way. It's going to pivot around. And so by creating a compass, we can see, okay, based on what you want to do in your business and when you want to retire, here's true north, but you're heading south. So that's not a recipe for success. So we've got to start to make changes and slowly turn the ship, so to speak, in direction of true north. And there's a lot of detail that goes into it. It's tax planning. Most people overpay their taxes. We'd like to see you chip away at that. It's risk management or risk control. What are the things that can assail you that can wipe out a lifetime of work in your business? There's certain risks. Do you know what they all are and how to go about managing, protecting them? You've got to develop an income plan because when you retire, presumably you're not going to have income from your business or your employment anymore. So you've got to start to build that out. And also, of course, legacy and investment or legacy planning. Who do you want to get what when you're gone? What's meaningful to you? Is it leaving money to your favorite charity or helping educate your grandchildren? Those are the types of things that we want to thread the needle. And it takes time and cultivation, but at the end of the day, you're always better off having a plan that you can make adjustments on and having an advisor, kind of an advocate for you or a coach holding you accountable. Because if you leave it up to yourself, right, you're just not going to get great results. And that's true in athletics, as you know. I mean, in team sports or whatever, every great champion in sports has had a great coach. And they'll always pay homage to those coaches. We could go over and over again who they are. No person is an island that rises to great heights on their own merits alone. You have people around you. And I'm just kind of a coach, so I always say half of what we get paid to do is for the actual work. The other half is for being a professional pain in the ass. We got to keep nudging people and our clients and holding them accountable a little bit, as much as they hold us accountable, to really get a great result.
Yep, absolutely. Full-time investment advisor, part-time coach, part-time therapist. And I like what you said there a little while ago, is you mentioned adjustments, because many people think in financial planning it's kind of create a plan, set it, and forget it. And that's not necessarily the case. One of the main reasons you need a plan and an advisor to help you stick to that plan and coach you along the way is really because the plan's gonna change depending on your life expectancy, scenarios as you're retired.
No doubt.
And what happens in the economy.
Well, very true, Michael. Think of it this way. Your plan is an overall strategy. For instance, part of that strategy may be to pay no more than 5% as an effective rate of tax. That's a strategy. But then you have to look at the current tax code to figure out tactically what are the unique things you can do today that are opportunities ethically available to you to lower your taxes to hit that goal. Of course, course, taxes can change in the future. Right now, there's 23 Democratic presidential hopefuls. Who knows? Many of them would love to raise taxes. Well, we don't know what tax rates are going to be in the future, but the strategy is not going to change. It's still, I want to keep my taxes at no more than a 5% effective rate. But the tax law will change. So you'll have to tactically change the combination to get to fulfilling the strategy. Same thing with investment, right? Your investments, you're going to follow a master strategy, but then we're going to make little adjustments along the way because things will change. And of course, all planning is imperfect because you can't know the future. Sometimes a person may have an illness that's going to cause them to rethink their priorities. Other times there's going to be a windfall. Sometimes there's going to be something financially that's a burden that you really didn't see coming, whether it's an aged parent that you're trying to help pay for their long-term care because they didn't do adequate planning on their own. Whatever it may be, but for the business owner, business owners I think are traditionally very good at executing on their strategy, but their core competency isn't usually finance. For instance, if you were an attorney, ultimately maybe you'll start your own law firm and you'll have other lawyers working for you and you'll specialize in a boutique area such as bringing plaintiff actions in corporate America, civil actions or what have you, or maybe you'll specialize in criminal law. But attorneys are not really financial people per se. They understand the rudiments of finance, but that's really not their core competency. So a lot of times we talk about the business owner being the CEO and us being, or me being the CFO, an advocate for them on the financial side of the house, to really make sure that they're putting all these pieces together to get hopefully a great result. And so that's what we're passionate about, and that's what we're going to continue to do here in the Palm Beaches for the business owner.
Yes, and I wouldn't blame them for hiring you as a CFO because I know exactly what you're saying there. It's fun to run the business. Not so much fun to deal with the financial aspect and everything after the facts.
Well, and some people love doing that, right? It's interesting. There's some people that their skill set is to be, I don't want to say this in a pejorative or derogatory way, but bean counters. So they just love to make sure everything fits on the right lines and to the right penny, and everything's accounted for in the ledger. And that's so, so important to have a disciplined accounting system. But at the end of the day, you just have to have an advocate that can look at things with a fresh pair of eyes, because sometimes a different set of eyes will see things in your business that you don't see yourself because, you're so caught up in doing it the day to day. That old saying, you can't see the forest through the trees kind of thing. So we step back and ask questions to kind of get the global or your big picture. And then we get into the granular details through the Retirement Compass Review, which is really a blueprint for a financial roadmap for great financial success for the business owner.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're listening on in and you want to ever take advantage of our help and assistance, you absolutely have the opportunities to do so. Just make sure you reach on out to us and we'll be happy to have you come on in for a Retirement Compass if you own a business. Because again, this is for business owners. If you own a business, we'd be happy to help you out. Just make sure you find a way to contact us. There might be a form down below, or there might be a little button up in the corner, but just find our number somewhere, reach on out, and we'll be happy to help you out.
That's cool.
Because like we've been doing lately, we've been talking really a lot about business specifics because you're a business owner and business owners have unique situations when it comes to their retirement because they're really a yo-yo. They are on their own when it comes to their retirement. They don't have the benefits of being an employee and really just going about it taken care of for you.
Yeah, that's right. We also see a lot of people do have employer-sponsored benefit plans, but when you're the employer and the employee, you have to set that up for yourself. So we're always open to commerce or having a dialogue with any business owners in the community because we really think we can make a huge difference, if it's the right fit, and if a business owner has had a level of success that perhaps is unparalleled compared to the norms in industry, then they really have the right to be proud of some great achievements. The question then is, how do you translate that into a sustainable plan? And one of the keys is not to reinvest everything back into your business, but seek to diversify, right? And make sure that you're fortifying, because that's another mistake I think a lot of business owners make is they put everything into their business and then something goes wrong with the business and all of a sudden they're out of business. And then they realize that reinvesting in your business makes sense to the point it allows you to keep market share or your unit sales volume or whatever, or if you're organically growing or growing by acquisition. But for some business owners, it's diminishing returns. To put a lot more money in the business isn't going to make an impactful difference, so it's counterproductive. And those are the business owners that we can do the most help for because they have surplus resources. Then the question is, how do I allocate this money? Right? And instead they'll say, I'll just leave it in the checking account. Oh, that's a great place to park money. How long do you leave it there? Oh, 10 years. What? You know how much money you've lost? Well, I don't want to be in the stock market.
Hey, on Beyond Meat alone, you would have made it. You would have doubled your money in the last couple of days.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you don't have to buy Beyond Meats necessarily. And I'm not diminishing that company. It's a great vegan company, and that stock has taken off like a rocket ship. Perhaps by the time anybody's watching us on this podcast, because this is archived,
our niece,
it could go down.
Our niece
right.
owns it. She loves it.
Right. But look at the other company like Blue Apron. Their IPO, they went out and the stocks dropped 90% of its value. Right. The idea of eating home fresh, through Blue Apron it resonates as a concept, but as a stock, right? Or just like Canopy or the marijuana stocks. A lot of those things are great, but they're you don't really know who the winners and losers are going to be, and you're really stupid if you think you do. So that's more speculative.
Local businesses.
Yeah, I mean,
the
it's
local
like anything
businesses.
else. It's like anything else, right? So I think that's an important point, though, because I do sometimes meet with business owners, and they don't approach their investments the way they would approach business. They're just saying like, what can I speculate on and this and that? And that's really not the right question. You can always speculate a small portion of money on something that may get you excited. But at the end of the day, you want to approach your investments and your financial life as a business, just in a calm and reasoned manner. And what we simply do is bring some expertise or some thoughtful thinking and asking better quality of questions into the equation, because then you start to ponder, I never really thought about that. Well, wow, what would I do, if money and time were no object to me? Where would I wake up tomorrow, and how would I spend my day? So those are the kind of things that we want to engage business owners in, as to what is your future hope for your business, for your family, and what are some of the risks in your business? And if you've had success, great, let's celebrate it, but let's make sure you diversify and continue to build a future that will go beyond your current success in your business.
Yes, absolutely. I am going to let John end the show on that note. If you guys want to reach on out, if you're listening on in, make sure you just reach out to us. Again, we're here to help local business owners or business owners throughout the nation, wherever you might be. We are doing digital meetings nowadays, so take advantage, reach on out to us, and hopefully we will be able to be of some assistance. But Dad, it's a good show as always. I'm going to let you close on out because I have a feeling I know exactly what he's going to do.
Well, you may or may not, but sometimes they have nicknames for me in the office. One of them is Yoda, and they like to make me believe that I'm not sure what he's doing. He looks like he's a snake slinking under the table, but that's a little bit disturbing, Michael, to be honest. That's very disturbing. But at the end of the day, they want me to believe that they call me Yoda because I'm so wise. But hell, I know that it's because I can grow more hair out of my ears than on my head. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we have a little bit of fun, right? But business should be fun, right? Have some fun. But also connect, because no one business owner is an island. And if you are, in the first big rain squall, you could just sink beneath the surface and the island could perish and be gone, never to be seen again. So in the words of the old Irish prayer, I'm going to kind of paraphrase this for you, my friends. May the wind always be gently at your back, my friend. May the sun shine warmly on your face. May the misty low road rise up to meet the high road. And until our paths meet again, my friend, may God anoint you with good health, richly bless you, and have a magnificent day. Goodbye now.